Okay, so let's continue with uh, the message. So here you see that we have validation. If I'm to click this in again, it says all input field are required. So let's do that, so that instead of putting this error message here, we want to be updating this one rather. Okay, but initially we will put it with an empty string. I mean, there should be nothing inside there. Okay, so we'll go to the Kivy file, and then what's the name, look through the registration window, and then there we look for the error. This is the error. We have an ID called error, and here this is where we have this message. So I just want it to be empty. I don't want to put anything there to be shown. Okay, so that we only put text there if there is an error. So I take that off, and then if I'm to come back here and then run, you will not see that again. So there is no text here. That error thing is gone, right? The error message. Now we will be updating that. It doesn't mean that the label is no more there. All that we want to do is still there, but no text for it. We want to put text from our Python file based on what we have here. So quickly we write logics in our Python file to handle that. So instead of again printing this, right? Okay, let me just print, let me still have that, and then here I want to validate what my distance. So I'll just hit validate, uh validate let's say user input, okay. And then to validate that, is there going to be what, an if statement. And then the first thing that I'll check is I want to check if any of these input fields are empty. Sorry, any of this is empty. Grammar. Okay, so if the email is what, is empty, if email is empty, let me just end it there, and then say that uh, print email is required, right? How do you spell required? Required. Okay, if the email is empty, meaning if there is nothing provided in the email section, we say that email required, and we want to print that in our terminal. So let's see how that is working first. Okay, so here if I submit this, it says what, email is required, right? Meaning it's working. Now we want to check if any of this field is empty. If this is empty, or this is empty, or this is empty, or this is empty. So it's going to be a chain of what, or statement. Okay, and then I'll change the message. If this is empty, or the password is what, empty. Okay, or so all the four, if any of those ones are empty, then we want to put a message that's what, all the input fields are required. Okay, so here, or so if the email is empty, or the password field is empty, or the last name is empty, first name is empty, or phone name is empty, then instead of putting email is required, I'll put or let me just type all what, required. Okay, all required. Okay, just that, and let's see. I hope we are following this thing. Okay, so here if I to do this, you will see that all required in the terminal. Okay, all required. Okay, even if I'm to type one and leave the others, it still print out all required. If I'm to enter and leave just a single one, it still says what, all required, right? Meaning we always have to provide all of these ones. But if I provide everything now, then we will not see the all required again, because they are not empty. You see that we don't have what, the all required again. All right, so that is working fine. Now, so let me put an S here first. S. Now, if all of these things are not what, I mean, they are text provided in all, then we cannot go ahead and do whatever thing that we have to do. Okay, so here for now, I'll just print out so maybe save data. I'll just say save data now. Okay, so that I'll still go back and then run this code again. And if I come to my registration, if all of these things are empty or any is empty, it says what all required. But if I provide text for all the input field and then I print, then it says what save data now, right? Meaning this is really working. Okay, so now let's go back to all the if and then make sure we are validating properly for this one so that all of these ones will be provided. Okay, so that even if I'm to type one and then leave one, it says all required, I can just leave it like this. Okay, so this is the basic email kind of thing that I want to be specific. I'll be doing some copy and pasting kind of thing here, right? So here I'll explain what I mean by this copy and paste. Okay, so here is another if condition. Okay, within this, if any of these field is empty, then I'm checking to be specific. If all these things are empty, or if any of these ones are empty, then we enter this block of code. And then here is also another if. So if email is empty and password is empty and last name is empty, and so all of these things must be hot. So one should, okay, so if all of these things are hot, empty, if all of these things are empty, I want to put that hot, I want to print that all hot empty, but instead of printing all required, but instead of what printing that, I can put that within what the label with the id hot error. Okay, what we just cleaned the test for, and then I'll go to the self.ids dot the name of the id, which is what error, and then the text, and then I want to what put this particular text. Okay, now this thing that you see here is what the markup. That is why we set markup to true, so that we can use this Kivy language, this markup thing in what the Python file to be able to change color. So this bracket open color equals this value, this is the is a red color, and then I'm also putting this is the markup thing. That's why we set this thing to what true. Okay, so that we can be able to what control the color. Okay, so here I don't want to print, I will not be printing in the terminal again, right? And then it's only the s that I'll print for now. And then let's go back and then run this code. Nothing is to be printed. Even this one I won't print that again. Okay, and then this name too, I don't want to print that again. All right, I hope you are following. Okay, so I'll come back here and then run my code. Run my code now. Then if I come here, you see that now I will not print anything. So you see that all field required, this is what we wanted, right? Okay, and then if I'm to type one, it says what all fields what required, all fields required, right? Which is good. Okay, I will also just copy and then the other validation stuffs and explain here. Okay, so here too, this was the first one, and then if email is empty and password and password I'm just changing that. I don't know why I have the O out and password. Okay, so here I'm saying that if email equals empty and password is not empty, and this is not empty, this is not empty. In other words, if the email is provided, okay, sorry, if the email is not provided but the other ones are provided, if they are provided, meaning they are not empty. So it's only the email that is what empty. and I want to write that what the error, I want to update this error thing. So the id is dot errors, and then I want to put what email is required, right? And then I also give it a red color. So you get the idea. And then lastly, if the email is not empty, meaning email is provided, password is also provided, is not, last name is also provided, and then the first name is what empty, phone number is provided, I want to say that what your first name is required. So the same thing for the other ones here as well, so that if any of them are not provided, we let the person the user know which particular field is not provided, so that the user will provide it. Let's run that and see. So here, if say all fields required, all fields required, so if I'm to provide just when it still says what that, but if I'm to provide all in exception of one, then it tells me what which one that is what needed to be provided. So I can provide this one also, and then decide to what take get a retriever. This was the phone number, it says what phone number required. You get the idea. So if I'm to provide this one and then also try to make sure that the email is empty, it tells me that email is required. It's like same thing for what the first name and then last name, your first name is required. So if I'm to also leave this out and type this, it says what your first name is required. So this is what we have been achieved so far. So this is the basic validation that I want to build for. Okay, now the next thing that we want to do is that now if all of these things are provided, I mean all this validation works well, okay, I mean nothing, all of these input field are provided, let me put it that way, then we want to what come into the else statement, meaning this will fail, right? And then if it's false, then we will come into the this else statement and print what data is save data now, so kind of thing. Now but before we save data now, we are here, we are just checking that what the input fields are not empty. Okay, so here I'll just do a basic validation just to make sure that the email is correct. Okay, so every email should contain what an at, right, an at symbol. So here I'll just write if at is, so if this symbol in what in my email, okay, then meaning the email is what valid, right? So here you can also see that I'm not doing any true validation of an email. I'm just checking for what to see if an at is in the email. Okay, all right, so that is why I call it basic. I'm just trying to get rid of so many things just to keep it simple, but here we can do a proper validation of the email address to make sure the a correct format of an email is typed, right? Now if this happen, meaning the email is correct, okay, email is correct, and then we save that, right? So I can print that save not save data, no. Okay, now out of if there is no at in the email, if there is no at, meaning I'll say that the email is not valid, and if the email is not valid, then I want to take the error input box, okay, the error input box, and then say self.id.error.text, and then I'm changing that to be what enter a valid email now, and still giving it what a red color. You get the idea. So let's just work with this now and see what we have at this point. So I'll run this terminal again and then go back to my registration. It says what all field required. So let me just provide everything. The email I'll provide just text, nothing else, and then there's no at, sorry. So it tells me that what enter a valid email now. It's just checking for the at. So this email, if I'm to put an at here, then though it's still not a correct email, this code assume is correct because that is what we are checking. That is the only thing we are checking, right? I hope that is clear. And then register, it says, if you look at the terminal, it says what save data now, meaning it means this email is what valid, but in actual fact it's not. Okay, so this is what I was saying, that here we can do a proper email validation to be able to get the correct result. This is incorrect, but our code says it's correct. How do we then check for a proper email validation. So there you can use what regular expression in Python for that, but for now I'll just keep it this way. But anytime that I'm to type, I'll type the correct one. But if there is no @ symbol in whatever thing that I'm providing as the email, then my code will tell me that what a valid email is required. Okay, so this is now correct, and then if I do that, that is what true. Okay, now I see that it says save data now, right? Save data now. So what we want to do now is that, assuming everything is correct here, and then we submit. If everything is correct, we will say we have taken all this value already, so we want to clear all these inputs. Okay, we want to clear all these inputs, right? And then also put a success message to the I mean this one, this one, this one. We want to clear all those text there, but here change this one to what? A success message. So to do that, we are still going to use the IDs that we set already. So I'll just make a copy of this one that I have from my other screen and then paste that. So I'm calling this what clear input phrase now. So I take the first name input, the text, I set it with an empty string, the same thing for the last name, email, password, and then a phone, right? So I'm saving that what an empty what string. So if the data is not valid, then we don't clear anything, right? So let's see here, if I'm to put something here, the data is what submit, which one, uh where have I saved that, okay, so um I don't know why the error message is not working. Okay, so let me just save that again and then run this. Okay, register now, and then okay, so this so if I am to provide one and then it still says what register now. Okay, now once everything is correct, it says what, let me just correct that, email at gmail.com, whatever it is, and then hit. Now you see that because everything is correct, we assume that the data is saved in the database. Say save data now, and then all these things has been cleared. The next thing that we want to look at, after, if everything is correct, we want to what, enter, I mean change this one to what, a success message. So to do that also, we will just take that error, what's the name, the error text kind of thing, and then change that to what, a success. So we just print this after that and I'll put what, this error. So add this dot error dot text, and then I'm changing that to what, this is not an error, it's a success message. So this ID should rather have been what, maybe info. You follow the idea. So the error dot text, and I'm changing that to what, you have successfully registered, right? Okay, and then here the color has been changed to what, green. This is the color code for green. If you look at here, it's different from this, which is red. This is what, green. So let's see if that is also taking effect. Okay, so here again error. So let me just provide all these things with random data, and then this, okay, the email again. So just add with some gmail something something, and then save. You see that you have successfully registered now. Now it says this, but we are not actually saving the data anywhere. Okay, so the truth is that this data that we pick from the user after validation must be saved in a database, so that if the person comes back to log in, we pick whatever email and then the password, use that to check all the available ones that we have in our database, and then compare if there is any user with this email and the provided password, right? Then we use that to validate, I mean to log the user in. No section, it's just a redirection. Okay, redirect. I should say. Okay, so to save the data, we will do that in the next video. But in the next video, we will first have to look at all the database that we are going to use, how to download that, install that, and then the packages that we have to install into our virtual environment to be able to run the database successfully. So we'll do that in the next video. So thank you for your time, and then thank you for watching. And then I also say that if you've not already liked the video, then please do that now, and then share for others to also enjoy it.